Hey, good morning, good November morning, good election day morning as we cross another border of who will be president. The poem today is the love song for jail for Prufrock, and I won't talk about the whole thing, but I'll set up some keys to it. So first of all, notice that title. What's a love song? A love song is typically a declaration of love. And J. Alfred Prufrock, people have said that, look, that name is a little bit ridiculous, right? It's not for, there's something, is our man a poser? You can ask that question right from the start. So, the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, it starts with lines from the Inferno, Dante's Inferno, where a guy is saying, like, look, I'll tell you these things because I know you're not going to get back up to the surface so other people hear them. So it's as if we're in J. Alfred Prufrock's mind, and in some ways the kind of own personal hell that he lives in, which is interesting to note. I mean, you don't necessarily know this until we get to the end. But consider how it begins. Let us go then, you and I, while the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient etherized upon a table. Okay, so where are we going? Who's the you and I? And why this, what kind of night is this? Again, it's a love song, so you and I, hey, let's go out, you and I, while the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient etherized upon a table. Actually, it's interesting to compare to Dover Beach, which we read, which is the beautiful night that turns bad. Well, this night, notice where they are. It's probably an urban setting. We've got a lot of fog/smog around. And right from the start, the night is like a patient etherized upon a table, which is not beautiful. It's not a great way to begin your date. Notice he wants to, notice the references, cheap sawdust, sawdust, oyster, basically oyster restaurants, right, where you just throw the things on the ground, throw the shells on the ground. It's just kind of not a good place. One night cheap hotels. It's not a good setting he's in to be declaring his love. But as they go out, right, he says to lead us, let's go, and these streets may lead us to an overwhelming question. And what is the overwhelming question you would ask on a date or of a date? It's never said. He never gets around to it, right? But think of what that question is. What are the big questions you're going to ask someone that you like or love? Do you love me? Do you love me? Or will you marry me? Those are probably the overwhelming questions. But notice what our Prufrock, our narrator, what his problem is. Right? He's distracted. Like, he knows he looks kind of ridiculous. He's getting bald. The people in the room are talking of Michelangelo. He can't really be a hero. He's not Hamlet. He's more just a schmuck. He can't seem to focus. Like, he can't bring himself to the overwhelming question. He's paralyzed. He just kind of, because he doesn't even dare ask the question, he dooms himself to kind of the life of solitude and loneliness that he seems to be living, right? Hanging out of windows, smoking or whatever, and watching the rest of the world go by. So people read Prufrock as very much a crisis of manhood after World War I. In the world of chaos, in the world where, religion, and there doesn't seem to be a right and a wrong, and the world seems broken apart, how do we even go ahead with love relationships? Again, this is where it's a good parallel to Dover Beach, right? Where Dover Beach is like, chaos in the world, what are we going to do? Well, at least we have human love. Now Prufrock says, man, I can't even get up the courage to ask about love. Like, what is love? I just am trapped in this kind of meaningless existence of smoke and details and wondering if I look ridiculous, and that's it. So it's another kind of negative thing. And out of this, remember, we are considering how Tolkien makes another world. Like, why is it that Tolkien turns to a fantasy world? Well, it's because so much of the world that he lived in seemed broken, shattered, with either bad impulses or the good people who can't find reason to act. Like, it's really a crisis, which again we see in this poem, and which explains why Tolkien creates a hobbit to try and say, look, people, this is what life is about. So there's Prufrock a little bit for you, a little different angle than the war poems and the kind of other kind of terror and horror in the world. It's a crisis of manhood in our friend Jail for Prufrock.